Kol HaShoneh Halachot B'chol Yom. Today, starting with Hashem, today is the 6th day of Mar Cheshvan. Today we're going to discuss Mitzvah 61 and 62. 61 is going to tell us that we are we're coming to the end of the series of obligations of the Beit Din to judge. And the Mitzvah 62 is going to tell us that we are not allowed to keep alive which. So today's Mitzvot are sponsored by Bezrat Hashem, Lenu Nishmat, Yechetzkel Netaneh Ben Arav Avishai Ali Bishlita, and Bezrat Hashem, Lechol Cholei Amo Yisrael, U'Becholam Lechaya Bat Leah. So Mitzvah number 61. Mitzvah Bedin Ladun Bedin Mefateh. A person went ahead and seduced a young girl, and a Bedin has to be exerting all the powers to see how we could judge such an individual. לדון בדין מפתח, as it says in the Torah, כלומר, מי ששיפטה בתולה שנדין אותו כמשפטו הכתוב עליו בפרשה. As it says over there, a young man approached a virgin youth. It says in the pasuk, שנאמר כ"ב, 22nd chapter, the 15th pasuk, וכי יפתה איש בתולה. As it says specifically, a man seduced a young virgin lady to be with him. ועניין הפיתוי הוא שאומר לה דברים של שקר או של אמת עד שמתרצה עליו. And the person his intention specifically is designed to take her to the bed with him. Has v'shalom. So he lied to her, or he even said the truth to her, and whatever it is, his intentions are all not for L'Shem Shamayim to marry her. His intentions are just to enjoy from the moment. Shoresh Adin Yadua. Again, let's not confuse. A man, if a young girl, he wants to marry her, the young girl, so she's not married and he's not married. Obviously, it's part of the job is to convince a girl to marry you. So tell her the nice things. That's what. Otherwise, how you go to the shidduchim? Everybody's a faker over there. We're all fake. We all fake at the shidduchim, right? Somebody says, Rabbi, I'm going to date her for 10 years. I know her better than I'll date her. I promise you, he doesn't know her better. And it's the same life if he proposed on the second date or he proposed on the 1000th date. It's the same life. There's no better, no difference. So we're not talking about that. Over here, a person went ahead and he wants to entice this girl to be with him just for the pleasure just for the point of the pleasure and not to marry her. Marriage is a different concept. Shoresh Adin, Yadua, everybody knows the point of this mitzvah. ואל תתעמק כאן בהיות כל הכבודה בת מלך, פנימה נמכרת לבועל ב5 כסף, כי בין עשירה בין ענייה. It says, I don't understand, don't say over here, well, the Torah tells us, since the Torah gives us a punishment for seducing a girl, the punishment is very little. What is the punishment? 50 silver coins. The Torah gives us a knas. If somebody went ahead and seduced a young girl and did with her the Averah, and then left her, right? So the Beit Din has an obligation to go find out what was the story there, and the Beit Din will declare if this was, and he was never had intention to marry her. They will find the man, if the father will say, I don't want her to marry him, they will find him 50 silver coins. So you might say to yourself, well, the Torah sold a virgin girl for 50 coins. So it doesn't matter if she's a rich man's daughter or a poor man's daughter, she has a value of 50 coins. You have to understand, the Chacham says over here, that raping, that being with her, seducing her, the 50 coins is just for that pleasure that kiviyachol you with her. So maybe now you say there's a pleasure for being with a woman. No. אבל מצד אחר חייב השוכב אותה לתת בושת וגם לפי ייחוסה והשיבותה. So the most important thing not to forget in this scenario is, if a man was seduced to a young girl, he has to know if his intention was just to seduce her, he's going to have to pay embarrassment money. A Kohen Gadol's daughter was taken advantage. His penalty is 50 shekel, 50 silver coins, like the poorest of the Jewish nation. But there is a problem. If he took a Kohen Gadol's daughter, now she has a bad name, right? And it's such a family, people pay a lot. There's a lot of value in it. People make a lot of shidduchim. You know the famous story. You know that right now there's a famous thing that goes around. The guy calls up. Bill Gates. He says, "I want my son to marry your daughter." And Bill Gates says, "Are you crazy?" He says, "What do you mean? My son, he is the CEO of what's his name? What is the main Lehman Brothers?" Bill Gates says, "Yeah, CEO of Lehman Brothers. Okay. Now he calls up the Lehman Brothers, and he says, "I want my son to be your CEO." The guy says, "What? Get out of here! What CEO?" He says, "Wait a minute. My son is the son-in-law of Bill Gates." Right? So this is I don't want to bring such a too many names into Bet Midrash, but it's just to give a point. Value of name has a lot of value. People value such a thing. Respect, kavod. So here a person took this daughter of a Bat Kohen. Yeah, for instance, marry this girl. Why should I marry her? She's a daughter of a Kohen. Oh, a daughter of Kohen? Kohen's daughter? Oh, that's something different. The Torah tells us a Bat Kohen, she Chas Shalom does nude, she gets burned. Why she get burned? Why a regular girl, a regular Bat Israel goes around and sleeps with another man while married? What does she get? What's her punishment? Regular Bat Israel who does nude, Chas Shalom, she gets chenek, she gets strangulation. A Bat Kohen, what happens to Bat Kohen? We burn her. Why do we burn her? And why Bat Israel gets chenek only? So we talk about chashivut, importance. So we have chashivut. So the same thing here. Mitzvah number 61 tells us if a man seduces a girl just for the point of pleasure and not to marry her, obviously he is embarrassing her also. So there's going to be a different cheshbon for that. Kol mitzvot Hashem emunah. Okay, Dinei mitzvah katav Rambam. As we learn over there that the Rambam writes in Hilchot Nara Betula, shekol ba'ir becheskat pitui ad sheyadu edim shehu ones. Okay, so first of all, in the city, this is okay. Now the rabbi outlines where the transaction occurred. If it happened within the city compounds, it's not honest. It's not that he raped the virgin. He did not seduce her. The whole shebesadeh becheskat honest. However, if it occurred in the field and out in the open in the field, not in the compounds of the city. Over there, we're talking about that's where the transaction occurred. So basically, today, Chas Shalom, somebody takes a young girl and seduces her to be with him. You have to know this is not a rape. It was what's his name? It was more of an interaction on her part as well. The teachers tell us in Masechet Ketuvot, דף ל"ט עמוד ב', שנישואי מפתת אלוהים ברצון האב והבת למפתה ואם כנסה אין שם קנס. ואם כנסה אין שם קנס. The rabbis teach us that if a man, the daughter's father decides to marry, allows her to marry him, there is no penalty. So she just marries him, as we are, what's his name, and as we learned over there. V'din kohen gadol shepita o anas. So now, what about kohen gadol? We know that that's a lot to eat.
It's homemade fresh bread.
Okay.
It's mizunot.
And it's what, homemade?
Okay, it's mizunot.
Homemade mizunot. Din kohen gadol shepita et o ones. The problem with the kohen, the Torah tells us that the first beilah is beilah, and after that it's all she becomes a zonah. If it was not l'shem kiddushin, then that's called znut. The question is, what happens to a kohen when he raped a girl? If a kohen rapes a girl, that means the first time he was with her, it's znut, and the Torah forbids the kohen to marry zonah. Now she has the name of zonah. So the Torah discusses, the halakha is over there. The rabbis discuss what happens in that case. B'din knaz b'niva'ala kidarka. So all the details. Zman haknaz eno ela mishalosh shanim ad shetibager. And also the penalties discussed specifically until the girl is from the age of 3 years old until she is 12 and a half. Mashkatov le'avia davka le'avia. The Torah tells us the penalty he pays the 50 coins is specifically the father. Aval en la av אין דין קנס עליה. However, a girl who was raped, an orphan girl, she was raped by this man, and there is nobody claiming the 50 coins. Nobody gets it. It's not the girls also. Okay? אז לפיתוי מדעתה הוא מה שאין כן באונס. כמו שנכתוב במקומות, בעזרת השם. So it's going to be discussing more in detail over there. Again, but let's not forget, the 50 coins is a knas for the father, but in that case where a man rapes an orphan girl, doesn't mean that there is no still bullshit and nezek, he has to pay all the other things. But this specific designation of 50 coins, she does not receive and nobody in her family receives. It's specifically designed for the father. אנשים שאין להן קנס, ואשר הן ביתר פרטיה מבוארים בפרק שלישי. So that the Gemara over there will discuss also in the third chapter, Daf Kaftet Amud Aleph, will explain specifically what are the women that don't have knas. If she's an island, there's a lot of different details of different types of women that don't get the 50 coins for the father. ונוהגת בכל מקום שיש בית דין, סמוכין. So we spoke, this is the mitzvah of Beit Din, and this wraps up the series of the obligations of Beit Din in the Torah. And over here, noheged b'chol makom sheyesh Beit Din. So we said the chachamim who are learned and they chas v'shalom don't take on themselves to judge this case. Ve'over v'lo asa k'din zeh bitel aseh, and we said already earlier that a judge could be learning all his life and could be recruiting a lot of reward. And at the end of his days, he says, I don't want to perform the judgment. He is over aseh, as we said. The over aseh is worse than doing other worse avirot in the Torah that are mentioned openly, that we are, the Torah designates the punishment. Okay, mitzvah 62. Shelo le'ached mechashev. Okay, we have a isur to keep alive mechashev, a witchcrafter. Somebody knows how to do witchcraft. There is isur, there's actually Avira to keep him alive. You must kill the witch person. It says in the pasuk in Shmot Chavbet 22nd chapter 70 pasuk. It says openly in the Torah, you are not allowed to keep alive the witch. Not necessarily somebody who is branded as a witch. It's anybody who does any witchcraft. And today, you'll be surprised, people are doing things that they don't even know, but it could be falling in the category of witchcraft. So the Torah will obligate them to be punished, and then people suffer, and they don't know why the suffering comes on them. אלא שידבר ברגיל שאנשים כשפניות יותר מן האנשים. In olden days, and even today, women don't have what to do in their lives, so it's more found that the woman will be busy with this business of doing witchcraft, not males, because males have other things to be doing with, as we know. They go out in the field, but mostly women who were mostly at home, they to find themselves busy doing with nonsense, with this kind of things. Chas v'shalom. ושושי מצווה שידוע כעניין כשוב דבר רע עד מאוד. We have to know that witchcraft is very evil. Until that goremet kama takalot libnei adam, it causes a lot of destruction to the human race. Everybody knows what it is. You're going out, you're changing forms of items that are not intentionally by Hashem. Therefore, because you are Hashem made everything perfect in the world. If Hashem made everything perfect, who are you coming to take it away and change it? Not allowed to. If Ishu ba keneged chafetz Hashem, as we said, so such person you have to destroy because he goes against Hashem. Hashem's will. Hashem's will. This should be a book. This should be a plastic. That's what Hashem wants. Who are you to change it? שהוא חפץ בישובו ונהג הכל בדרך הטבע שהטובה שהוטבע בתחילת הבריאה. Hashem wants everything to be run naturally. That's why He created it in that manner. You don't like it, you have a problem. Who gave you permission to go and change it? וזה בא לשנות הכל, and this person comes and plays around with items that Hashem created. שוב הוא לפי דעת שהשם ברוך הוא שם בתחילת הבריאה לכל דבר ודבר מדברי העולם טבע לפעול פעולתו טובה וישרה לטובת בני העולם אשר ברא. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the rabbi says, we specifically designed the world in a certain design, and everything in this world is designed specifically to sustain the human race. And this is what is the best for the human race, that every aspect and every object in this world has its own image and its own פעולות, its own performance of some sort. וצבא כל אחד לפעול פעולו למיניהו. And Hashem commanded every item in this world to do its job. כמו שכתוב בפרשת בראשית, it says over there in פרשת בראשית, למיניהו על הנבראים. It says over there that Hashem made everything to cling in its own kind. Everything has to be in its own kind. Stone is a stone, water is water, tree is a tree. You have no right to change anything. וגם על כל אחד ואחד המסיל כוח למעלה להכרחו על מעשהו. So there is a special connection between the spiritual world and this world, and everything is touched according to his creation. This is a book. It came out of a tree. This is a plastic, came out of whatever it came out. Everything has its own aspect and its own continuation, and it has to stay that way. גם על כל אחד ואחד המשאיר כוח למעלה. אוקיי, what's that? כמו שאמרו זכרונם לברכה, our sages told us, בראשית רבה, אין לך עשב מלמטה שאין לו מזל מלמעלה. He says that even a little string of grass on this earth doesn't grow until it has something connecting it to the spiritual world. שאומר לא גדל, that says to this little grass, grow. So it's not like you have billions and billions and zillions of grass roots and they just grow on their own. No, even each one of them is told how tall it's going to grow, how many inches, how thick it's going to be, how wide it's going to be. Everything is declared from Shamayim. And everything does in its own nature. יש להם פעולה אחרת, בהתערב מהם על מין אחר. Okay, it says over here, the rabbi continues, וידיעת חילוק עניינים, אלא איזה תערובת מותר לנו ואין בו צד קישוב, ואיזו שיש בו צד קישוב ואסור. So again, that we are to differentiate, not to chas v'shalom be involved in objects which have ability of witchcraft in it, and to stay away from it, and there are certain things you're allowed to do, like right now on everybody's topic. You hear? Ram, on everybody's today, many people's topic, people who do healing with power, electric power. They figure out, they think they figure out, they're summoning the power via electricity, via soul. Is that kishuv? It's not kishuv. I was getting more into it. It's a big machloket, and I think the people who say it's kishuv because they're afraid, they don't know what's happening, and the best proof that it's not kishuv, it doesn't work 100%. Since it doesn't work 100%, you know it's not kishuv. Because it's what's his name? It's yes, we have, as we do tefillah, we power, we daven with our mouths. So one of the ways you know that healing with the spiritual powers cannot be kishuv, as like I said, because it doesn't work 100% at all times. So there is other mekomot where we have discussions of witchcraft, and there we'll go delve into it. נוהגת מצווה זו לעשות דין במחשבים, זכרים כי להם ייעוד וניתן לעשות משפט, אבל לא לנקבות. Same thing over here. So the rabbi says also the same thing. Who has the obligation to judge witchcraft, witchers, which has to be judged by a Beit Din, only by males and not by females again. Davka Eretz Israel, and only in the Eretz Israel, only people who have the smicha, who are ordained to do such things. ובית דין העובר עליה, אם יש בו כוח לעשות משפט, עבר עליו זה. So to a judge, a beit din that doesn't perform this judge, and they could do it and they're not doing it, Hashem ירחם עליהם, Hashem should have mercy on them. מלבד שביטל מצוות עשה שהוא לעשות דין במחויבים דרך כלל, this beit din that does not want to perform this mitzvah they're breaking few avirot, few mitzvot, that there's an obligation to go to judgments. However, the rabbi says, since there is no real action here by this Beit Din, since they fail to do act, and it's a prohibition not to, and they what's his name? They they allow the witch to stay alive, but since there is no actual work with anything they do by hands, there is no alcohol, there's no gelat lashes. The Kol Hashem, okay, as the rabbi explained over here, okay, שאין בו מעשה, אין אלוקין עליו חוץ מנשבע, so different, the rabbi goes into different deals, that a certain mitzvot that if a person does, even if there is no deed in them, still he gets lashes, but this is not one of them. Bezat Hashem, have a wonderful day.